means welcome in a language called Kiswahili. Everybody say Kiswahili.
Kiswahili.
Wow, such a sharp group. I wanted to introduce myself. I'm Miss Tate, and some students actually know me because I'm a teacher in Seattle Public Schools, and I go around to different schools and work in different classrooms. So some of you might say, I know her, and I'm glad to see all of you today looking ready. So first of all, I'm going to write on the board something. I can get the top off.
No, you're supposed
Oh, it's like that? Oh, what a cool pen. So first of all, I'll write my name, Miss Tate. And you know, one important tradition in the African cultures to greet each other, we don't just walk by like this and say nothing. We actually communicate with each other through our body language. How you're sitting right now tells me you are ready. You are ready to learn something exciting and new. I wanted to tell you a little bit about me, but I like to learn a lot about you too. So in a little while we'll share with each other. It's not going to be just me talking up here. We're going to be able to share with each other. But what I want you to do is learn a little bit about the book that I brought today because it's very special. It is written by my sister, and my sister's name is Marcia Tate Arunga. And one reason why I like to talk about her name is because there is something right here. Does anyone know what it is? What is this kind of punctuation called? Yes? A what? We'll get back to that. Yes? Very close. She said equal, which would have two lines like that. This is called a hyphen. Can everyone say hyphen?
Hyphen.
So that means if I say Tate Arunga, I'm making a connection with two names. So how many of you have two last names? Raise your hand. Okay, do you want to share what your last name is? Good. Speak a little bit louder for me. Yes? Okay, good. Yes? Good. Very good. So some of the names that you said are actually like one last name. Miss Tate. My first name is Monica. Monica Tate. And then there are other people who have last names that have two connections together, because one might mean one family that that person's related to, and the other last name might be another family that that person is related to. So a lot of times when someone gets married, they will keep their last name that they were born with. And in this country, it's a tradition. I found out when I met a man from Pakistan back in college that we don't all have last names of our father. Sometimes in different countries, they have the last names of their mother. And so it's very interesting because here in this country, we don't do that here. But that doesn't mean that it's not a good way to do something. We need to learn different ways of doing things, right? And sometimes it makes us better at what we are doing because we know the very important things that other people do, and we can add to our lives and make it more rich. And being rich is great. We love to be rich, right? But there's something called rich in mind, and not just rich with material things like money or jewelry. That's one way of being rich. But there's another way of being rich, which is a spirit, a feeling, the heart, inside. And we can all be rich inside and be better people, right? And help each other. Okay, so then Arunga, my sister married a man named Dave Arunga. And Arunga is his last name. So she decided when she got married, I'm not going to just call myself Marcia Tate, which some people get married actually keep the last name of their mother or father that their birth parents had. They sometimes just keep that last name. But she said, no, I want to also be called Arunga because I want that connection to another culture that years ago, many, many years ago, that I came from. Many years ago, we all came, our parents and their parents, which is called a generation. People say here, generation for me. Generation. And a generation means that you can go back and back and back and back, but you still can find a connection to yourself. Guess what they found out? They found out if students have a better idea of where they come from originally, their parents and their parents, they found out they become better students. Anybody know why that might be? It's been researched. They know that if you know about your past, if you know about your parents' parents and their parents, that you actually can become better learners. Anybody have any idea why that might be? Because what I might do is just ask that question, and later I'll come back to it and ask if you have any ideas about why would that be. If you know more about your parents, you have an idea? Go ahead.
You learn more history about what happened.
Really good. And I need you just to speak up so that others can hear that great answer. Can you say it again?
You learn history about what happened long ago.
Great. So my sister decided over 20 years ago, I don't exactly know the date at the moment, but it was over 20 years ago. That's a long time, right? She was only like 23, 24 years old, and she decided that she was going to get married to Dave Arunga because she met him in college. He was the president of the University of Washington student body president. That means the students always have like a representation, someone to represent them in the school. And he was that person that year that they met. And she decided, she fell in love with him, and she decided, I want to go back to where he's from, which is Kenya. Anybody here ever heard of Kenya? Kenya is in East Africa. And I don't have a map right here near me, but maybe your program can point out to you where Kenya is, and you can learn more about Kenya. But Africa is part of Africa, and Africa is a continent. So does everybody see where Ms. Carpenter is pointing to? No. This is Kenya, but this whole big word right here is Africa. And everybody say Africa for me.
Africa.
A lot of people don't know very much about Africa. Why? Because it's so far away from the United States, and we think that people that live on other continents, like Africa, are real different than ourselves, so we don't ever really learn much about people from other countries. But as you can see here, we have people students from various different countries. Raise your hand if you know where your parents are from, and you can share that. Yes? Africa. Do you know where in Africa? Okay. Yes? Samoa. Very good. Yes?
Mississippi.
Wow. That's the United States. That's a state within a country, right? That Mississippi is a state within the United States. So the United States, which is up here too.